Congo Square is a part of a much bigger sacred space. It was once called Bubancha land, which is the name for this entire territory before it was colonized, before it was taken over by the Spanish and the French and everyone else who wanted to put their brand and their name on it. All right, and so we know that the ancestry that's embedded in this soil is what we really want to honor. That's what we really want to build up and bring to the fore. And what we need to take down, what we've been taking down, is all of the marks of colonization, all of the symbols and systems of white supremacy that erase those narratives on a regular basis. Ashe? Ashe. And so that's why we gather here in this space right now, Congo Square, which is even more rich with that history, because not only do we have the history of our Native American ancestors from the Chitimacha to the Chickasaw to the Choctaw to the Houma to the countless others that I can't run down right now, right? But we also have our enslaved African ancestors from the Congo, from the Senegambian region, and from all the different parts that our ancestors bailed from. And this was a sacred ground where we once gathered and shared our culture in communion and in solidarity. So for us to be in the same space today, 300 years later, all right, and this so-called tricentennial that wants to celebrate a colonial narrative, but we here, whether 1 or 1,000, are going to push back against that narrative, and we're gathering the same solidarity that African people and Native indigenous people and poor working class white people, even on the low, gathered for hundreds of years before these other narratives took over. So that's why we're here this morning. Thank y'all for coming. I want y'all to give it up for our comrade from People's Assembly, from TakeEmDownNOLA, who's going to say a little bit more about why we're gathered here today. Give it up for my sister, Antoinette Scott.
Thank y'all so much for being here, for answering the call to duty. Ashana Sakura said it is our duty to fight for our freedom.
That's right.
And we have to be present in that duty. There are so many things wrapped around this holiday season, wrapped around the celebration of revisionist history that would tell you to stay home. You know, we say, oh, I'm too full. Oh, Lord, I've been traveling. Oh, my goodness. You know, oh, I'm tired. I'm out of work, out of school, so, you know, I need to sleep in. I need to stay under the covers. Or, oh, it's a beautiful day. Let's do something else besides the liberation work that we are obligated to do. Because, again, it is our duty to fight for our freedoms. We're going to take a march. We're going to take a march to rise against this narrative that said that nothing was here before white folks came here.
All right, that's right.
That nothing was here before colonialism and genocide.
That's right.
That nothing mattered, that our ancestors didn't matter, that our lives didn't matter, that their lives didn't matter. You know, the lessons we've learned throughout the ages, across time, does not matter, but we say no. We know that's not true. We know that we are obligated to take these streets. We know that we are magnets right now.
All right.
As we walk down these streets, we are pulling folks to us, people who are on the fence, who are like, I don't know if that's for me. I don't know if that marching stuff is for me. I don't know if liberation work is for me. But we're here to say, yes, it is. Because I'm out here, and it's for me. Quest is out here, and it's for him. Jose's out here, and it's for him. And we are all charging the air with our voices. We are changing the energy with our presence. And we're going to continue to do that until every single symbol and system to white supremacy is erased from the landscape of New Orleans.
All right.
So I want to thank y'all for being here with us today. And thank y'all for carrying on the fight. And I'm going to give it back to you to talk about security.
All right.
All right, keep the love going for our comrade Antoinette. It's ever so crucial, everything that she said, right? And so when we say 1 or 1,000, I don't care how many people say it or how many people don't, but one truth, and I always say this, in the face of oppression is a victory.
Yes.
Any resistance in the face of oppression is a victory, because oppression is the lie that can never win. So all it takes is one person countering that narrative for that narrative to get shaky, to get stumbly, to get weak. And that's the reason why they try to erase us as viciously and as organized as they do. But if they're going to be organized, that means we got to organize as a lifestyle. I see? All right, so I'm going to talk about security at the end. I'm going to put that on the end because that's the technical stuff. And at the end of the day, it's really just about us watching each other's back. Each one keep one. My brother Big E and my brother Joseph are passing y'all out some security flyers. Y'all can read that up and down, and I'll go over it at the end. But for now, I want to bring up an elder who is one of the major reasons why a lot of us got into this work in the first place. And speaking of that, speaking the truth and passing it on, and somebody else picking up that torch. I can tell you that this man has been doing this about 40 some odd years. I can tell you that because I sat in one of his many innumerable lectures, all right, I heard that truth and it sparked something in me. And what we hope to do today is to keep spreading that spark all around the city. Not everybody feels comfortable doing this very brave and courageous work that we do. So, you know, love on yourself and love on your comrades for doing something that's way outside of the norm. But we're going to keep doing this until it is a norm, until our narrative is a norm. We know that this ripples and has effects all over the landscape. We know that when they vote for Constitution Amendment 2, for example, and they take off that old Jim Crow law from like 1870 something, right? We know that that's a ripple effect that happens because we gathered inside the streets and made the consciousness grow, yes, about Jim Crow and white supremacist remnants in the system. And everybody don't have to hear us at the same time. But the right person hears, and somebody is going to take that truth that we speak to power, and they're going to change the narrative the same way that we're changing it right now. Ashe?
Ashe.
So give it up for one of our elders who's been doing this forever. Give it up for Malcolm Super.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
How we gonna make New Orleans rise?
Educate, agitate, organize.
How we gonna make New Orleans rise?
Educate, agitate, organize.
How we gonna make New Orleans rise?
Educate, agitate, organize.
All right, comrades, friends, we're happy that you're out here with us. The task that we've laid out for ourselves today is to spread our light, to let people understand that this city is not just always about partying, that there are people here who are suffering at the hand of the rich white capitalists who run this city. And we have a message for them that we are not going to turn our back on the working class people of the city. Yes. We will stand with them, we will fight with them to the bitter end. We know that we need revolution in this city. We need revolution in this country. We need to overthrow the billionaire ruling class. And if we don't do that, we are not carrying out our duty. When Assata Shakur said that it is our duty to fight for our freedom. What we must understand is our freedom is connected with everybody else's freedom. We can't be free if other people are being oppressed. So we're not about changing the faces of oppression. We're about ending oppression. Ending oppression. Ending exploitation. Ending the capitalist rule. And we say our slogan is white supremacy. We say
Must go.
White supremacy.
Must go.
White supremacy.
Must go.
White supremacy.
Must go.
When?
Now.
When?
Now.
When?
Now.
Now I'm going to leave because we want to get out here on time and we'll get back to Brother Quest. All right.
All right, keep the love going for Malcolm. If ever there was a monument to what it looks like to hold this type of work up for decades, that's that brother right there and a couple of other elders. I wish I could say several others, but I can definitely say there's a couple in this city who have held this on their back forever. And this is the type of truths that we want to build up, all right? Before we get into the march, I want us to kind of give a little benediction to this space in the form of some spoken word, in the form of some theatrical production. This is, to be very clear and sure, I think we already said it, but to restate it, this is a solidarity march with our First Nations, our indigenous, our black and brown migrant worker peoples at a very appropriate time, the time when their lives, their bodies, what have you, are used as cannon fodder for capitalist celebration in the form of Thanksgiving and the Black Friday that come after that, right? So we're going to use everybody that we already use so we can keep bolstering up our Black Fridays and keep us in the black and keep pushing ourselves forward in a monetary sense. But the reality is, we know that all of that black comes from a whole lot of red. Right. Comes from a whole lot of blood shed from black and brown bodies, and it continues to this day.
That's
so when we talk about these symbols and we talk about this system, we're not talking about history.
That's right.
All right? What is ICE but a modern day bounty hunter just the same way it was for enslaved Africans back in the day.
That's right.
Right? What is any of these different facets from the police to ICE to the military, but securing the same exact thing that the colonial narrative was doing 300 years ago? So we know that anybody that's pushing against that narrative is somebody that we need to lift up, we need to listen, right? And we need to be lifted up by the story that they're going to bring. All right? So this brother right here, he says there's no guacamole for immigrant haters. I like that.
Yeah.
Because you can't eat off my plate if you can't respect my humanity.
Amen.
All right? This brother right here says this taco truck will kill fascists. I say, I'm feeling that. All right? And that's the type of terms of engagement that we got to establish for all of the people that want to exploit us, appropriate our culture, and take from us without having a reciprocal type of relationship. So give it up for Jose Torres tonight.
We petition Legba, le pedimos a Legua. We petition Legba, le pedimos a Legua. We remember Ashun, Yamaya, and we say Ashe.
Ashe.
We remember the Aztec goddess Coatlicue, the Mayan Ixchel, and we say Ashe.
Ashe.
Remember, the United States of Amnesia seduces you to embrace forgetting. Let's remember the Fugitive Slave Act, 3/5 Compromise, Indian Removal Act. They weren't even trying to be subtle. Chinese Exclusion Act, Mexican Repatriation, which meant bringing all kinds of Mexican U.S. citizens, taking them from their homes back deep into Mexico. Does that sound familiar?
All right.
Let's remember Japanese internment. And let's remember when the Muslim ban was happening, they were actually talking about Japanese internment, that they had a template for that.
All right.
Because the United States of Amnesia seduces you to embrace forgetting. We the people, we must remember, because it's our job to remember. It's our job to remember and challenge the official lies, to tell the people's history. Let's remember, there was something called Operation Wetback. They weren't even trying to be subtle during Eisenhower's time period. So let's remember how that's connected to SB 1070 and the Zero Tolerance Policy Act, enacted into law by Jefferson, Beauregard, Session. Google his name. He was and is a living monument to the Confederacy.
Yep.
Let's remember. And we petition Legba to open wide the pathways. ¡Au! Le pedimos a Legba que nos abra bien el camino para nuestra gente cruzando, cada día, cada hora, cruzando una cicatriz colonial. Cruzando una cicatriz colonial en las cuales de nuestra Pachamama tierra. Let's petition Legba to open wide the pathways for people crossing every day, every hour, every second to reclaim what was ours in the first place. Porque la tierra nunca tenía fronteras. The land never had any borders. Because our hearts don't have any borders.
That's right.
Nuestros corazones no tienen fronteras. Y esa frontera en el Río Grande es una cicatriz colonial. That border at the Rio Grande, that's a colonial scar, baby. And we should cross all kinds of borders across the universe because they're all colonial scars. Así que le pedimos a Legua que le abra bien la gente, que le abra bien la puerta a nuestra gente, cruzando cada día, cada hora, cada segundo, cuando nuestras caras oscuras quemadas por el sol, morenas como la tierra golpeada, aguantando gritos entre un siglo al otro, casi acabadas con almas viejas antes de cruzar, con una historia cruel llena de conquistas y abuso, como una gente en el cuerpo vivo de una ciudad huérfana antes de Dios, abandonada por un gobierno cruel y maldito, forzada a cruzar una cicatriz colonial, a supuestamente a la fuente de la democracia, y simplemente acá, madres y niños cruzando por panes y sueños y llamados criminales y llamados ilegales. Ningún ser humano es ilegal, ningún ser humano es ilegal, ningún Ser humano es ilegal. No human being is illegal. 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 When I see these dark faces bent by the sun, purple, black like a beaten earth, and their screens from one century to another, almost finished like old clothes before crossing over, with a cruel history of conflict and abuse, like a people in the wounded body of an open tower before God, abandoned by a criminal government, forced to cross into the beacon of democracy, escaping persecution, escaping economical despair, looking for freedom, crossing into the beacon of democracy, supposedly the beacon of democracy, only to find themselves criminalized, dehumanized, called illegal, aliens, mothers, and children, crossing for bread and dreams. No human being is illegal. Come on,
no human being is illegal. No human being is illegal. No human being is illegal.
Respect my existence or expect my resistance. Respect my existence or expect my resistance.
Respect my existence
or expect my resistance. Yes, we are the people. We are the ones who tell this story, and we have to wonder. I've been wondering myself for the last 2 years. Why is the Catholic slave port city of New Orleans celebrating enslavement, celebrating a slave-owning, Choctaw Native people killing French colonizer, who they call discoverer, and pushing and pimping that plantation Eurocentric paradigm? Yes, because that's what that narrative is about. It's about pimping the colonizer and turning it into the tourist industry, into that mechanism. But remember that one of the biggest industries here in Louisiana, it's not tourism, baby. It's stealing black and brown people. It's the state of incarceration. It's the state of incarceration. And we kill more people here than in China. And Oklahoma just recently made themselves #1. But we're right there, baby, because we can be proud of that, because that's what Louisiana has been doing that. And what do you think they call it Angola? What do you think they call it Angola? What do you think they call it Angola? They do things on purpose. My brother Fernando Lopez spoke up here a little while ago at one of the other meetings, and he said, the system isn't broken. It's doing exactly what it's needing to do. We are the ones that are interrupting it. We are part of a tricentennial interruption. And you agent orange of chaos, you agent orange of chaos, pimping, hate and fear, and those burning crosses that ignite the fear of pyramid pit every time you give them a speech to make America hate again. You and your deplorable minions. You and your deplorable minions pimping hate and fear. In my universe, there's no guacamole for immigrant haters. There's no guacamole for immigrant haters. There's no guacamole for immigrant haters. Because if you consume my food, you can't be dehumanized by people or the cooks.
Yep.
And I say to you, to those of you who have been jumping on that hate boat across the country, women as well are thinking why. For those of you who jump on that hate boat, you and your deplorable minions, you agents orange of chaos, pushing the most dangerous live reality TV show the empire has witnessed. You can't even go near the chips. Because remember, the United States of amnesia seduces you to embrace forgetting that the so-called beacon of democracy has been founded on the near genocide extermination of native people.
Yep.
Ooh, their blood being spilled. And here we have Cado, we have Titivacha, we have Atacapa, we have Choctaw, we have Chickasaw, we have Tunica tribes whose blood was spilled by that French colonizer. Yes. So let's remember that the United States of amnesia seduces you to embrace forgetting that the empire, the so-called empire, was built on the enslavement of Africans, their bodies transformed into cattle, their bodies transformed into property, the same way they stole the land from the natives and transformed those into forest property. And let's remember that the United States of amnesia seduces you to embrace forgetting that the so-called empire manifested imperial destiny by appropriating the northern territories of Mexico, from Texas to California to Oklahoma to Utah. That was all northern Mexico, baby. You want to build that wall? Let's build it from 1848.
Yeah. That's what I say.
And I want you to do something. Google it. Google the Guadalupe Hidalgo Treaty of 1848. Google it. You will discover that's when the United States wrote it into law to appropriate those lands, to steal them. Google it because Latinos, we love to Google. Yes, Daddy. Google is a Latin term. In fact, Google is an old Aztec term. From the Aztec goddess, Google gets it which means look shit up, people. Know your history. Ashe.
Ashe.
Keep that energy and love going. Keep that energy and love going. All right, y'all. We're about to take that same energy and we're going to take it all the way through the streets, all right? Before we do so, I got a couple of little logistical things just in terms of security. And after that, we're going to get in formation, all right?
All right.